I titled today's conversation mind map, Your Desire is Your Prayer. Your desire is your prayer. This was inspired by this quote here from Joseph Murphy. He said, "Your desire is your prayer. Picture the fulfillment of your desire now and feel its reality, and you will experience the joy of the answered prayer." And why is that the case? Well, as we're discussing, that you are joy, you are peace, you are bliss, you are love, you are happiness. You desire to experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. That is who you are. The individual may forget who they are, so they receive desire from the source of fulfillment within. And the desire is the prayer, Mark 11:24. Pray as though you have received it, and it will be yours. So a person may do this or that prayer or this or that technique so that they know who they are and what they already have. What he's saying is that desire is your prayer. You can simply know through desire that you are already that. You already have what you desire. What naturally results from that is the way of how it appears, what the person does, what the person does not do, what the person says, what the person does not say, what the person thinks, what the person does not think, what the person emotionally relates to, whatever appearance happens naturally, effortlessly in flow from the premise of being already that which you desire to be, already having what you desire. I trust you witnessed this, and I like the word witness. As I say sometimes, I am that pure awareness witnessing all these things appearing to be in perfect harmony. Witnessing is this view of this world which is unfettered, or as stated in Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. You are that perfection, witnessing all these things appearing naturally, effortlessly. So do not conform can sound like a thing to do. Prayer can even sound like a thing to do. Do not conform is pointing to the fact that you are that pure awareness that never conforms. Once you know that you are fulfilled, as your desire is your prayer, so you're fulfilled in that regard, of course you would experience joy. Joy is your true nature, just as love is your true nature, happiness is your true nature, peace is your true nature, bliss is your true nature. Of course, it makes perfect sense that the natural fragrance which you feel in the body is joy. Simply witnessing life happening to be in harmony. People appear to be in harmony with you. Environments appear to be in harmony with you. Everything appears to be in harmony with you. I like how Neville Goddard said it as well. He said, prayer is the elevation of the mind to that which we seek. Prayer is the elevation of the mind to that which we seek. What do you seek other than to know who you are and to know what that appears as? All these things of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, which are reflections of you. So you receive within a desire to experience the life that you desire to live, which we can call your dream life. You desire to experience your dream life. You desire to know who you are and be as you are, thus experience your dream life. And it might not be the life that another person lives. You can look around and see what other people are doing, and you could try to copy what they're doing. But that might not feel natural to you. See, you already know who you are. You found who you are through desire. You already know how you desire to live. You found that through desire. Desire points to the fact that you are already fulfilled. Desire is your prayer. Mark 11:24, pray as though ye have received it. It's a simple acknowledgement in the moment. Anytime a desire arises, thank you, I have. Thank you, I am. Everything happens naturally from the premise of knowing that you are already that. I learned this back in the days from Think and Grow Rich. He said, if you have a burning desire, then that is the definite chief aim. Definite chief aim can sound like a thing to do. Now I have to do all these force-based things to make this happen. Actually, what I found, and every definite chief aim that I've ever set since 2004 has manifested, is that all these things naturally happen. The people that contribute, the environments that contribute, the resources, the assets, whatever it may be. Everything appears to be in harmony, and it plays out as a wonderful play. Lately I've been saying, the world appears to dance with you. You are that pure awareness witnessing this world dancing with you. And also, we can say experiencing this world as the individual. I and the Father are one. And although the Father is infinitely greater than I, because the Father knows ways that I don't know of how the dance will play out, which it plays out perfectly, I can remain as I am, witnessing this world. Yet in body, I experience my true nature as I know my true nature is that perfect joy, love, happiness, peace, bliss. So I experience it in the body, in form, as love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, in form. So of course, as he said, your desire is your prayer. You picture the fulfillment naturally of your desire. You naturally picture the fulfillment of your desire. You know what that looks like. As mentioned, you desire to know who you are and be as you are. And you imagine what that looks like naturally through desire. As Napoleon Hill had said, the desire is the definite chief aim. So I know what it looks like in imagination. I know what it looks like in imagination. It's a prophecy. It was given to me by grace. And it is fulfilled for me by grace. Grace alone. I don't interfere with the process. For the Father knows ways that I do not. I simply witness with the Father in heaven, witnessing all these things. The world appears to be a dance. From that perspective, it is known that ultimately only God alone exists, witnessing this world appearing to play out the theater of God. Thy will be done. So desire just pointed to the fact that I was fulfilled in that regard. You are fulfilled in that regard. Whatever you desire, whatsoever things you desire, you are fulfilled. So prayer, as Neville Goddard says, is the elevation of the mind to that which we seek. Like Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world. So you can know that you are already that which you desire to be through nonconformity. I am still abidance prior to this world, thus witnessing this world, thus not conforming to this world. What's the natural fragrance of that? Joy, bliss, peace, happiness, all these things that the individual desired to experience, they found it in that still I am presence, the presence of God. He also said, the very first word of correction is always arise. Always lift the mind to that which we seek. So You desire to be who you desire to be. You desire to live the life that you desire to live. See, a person may be identified with whatever kind of religious dogma-based belief or whatever about suppressing and repressing desire. They think that God is shaming and condemning. They don't know that the desires of the heart arise from the heart of awareness. And you are here to witness the power of awareness. I am that still I am presence, witnessing the power of awareness, the perfect play of God. The individual plays the role, every individual plays the role. As Neville Goddard says, prayer is a surrender. Prayer is a surrender. It means abandoning oneself to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You are fulfilled. Anytime a desire arises and you abandon to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, what does that consistently point to? The fact that you are fulfilled. You are fulfilled. Do you imagine that God sees you as not fulfilled? That's illusory. As the individual, I came here to experience fulfillment, whatsoever things you desire. Now, interestingly, it plays a perfect, harmonious role with everyone. That's what I found. So if we go back to the definite chief aim, every one of those definite chief aims were in harmony and in contribution to everyone's definite chief aims, goals, visions, etc. It's not like there was a conflict. The Father knows ways that I do not. I simply accept that what I desire, I already have. I desire to experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. What's wrong with that? That is my true nature. So through prayer, I know that I have what I desire. I am already that which I desire to be. As a matter of fact, your desire is your prayer. As Joseph Murphy said, your desire is your prayer. So what do you do then? Well, you naturally picture the fulfillment of your desire now as you do not shame and condemn yourself in the silence. There's no such thing as shaming or condemning in the silence. What person is there in mind, shaming and condemning? What resistance is there in the silence? There's only fulfillment in the silence. So naturally, from the silence, you imagine yourself to be that which you desire to be. You imagine yourself to have what you desire. That is the definite chief aim. That is the vision. Having accepted that you are already that, everything happens naturally in flow. What you do, what you don't do, what you say, what you don't say, or we could say what you appear to do, what you appear to not do, what you appear to say, what you appear to not say. Everything happens naturally, spontaneously, in flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, in his book, Flow, calls it autotelic. Being autotelic, which is our real nature. God does everything. I do nothing. God does everything. There's no pride in saying, I do nothing. I literally do nothing. Why would I want to interfere with the perfect play? We could say that is the most confident position to take, to abide as that still I am presence, witnessing all these things appearing to be in harmony, without resistance. Well, what about what to do after that? Everything happens naturally. What you do, what you don't do, what you say, what you don't say happens naturally, effortlessly, in flow. Then why does the individual at times report that there's resistance along the way? Well, maybe because they forgot who they are. So no shame, no condemnation, as there is no shame or condemnation in the silence. You abide in the silence, witnessing all these things appearing to be in harmony, and there is no resistance in the silence. Emotions are released, emotions regulate, nervous system regulates, thoughts are no longer identified with in mind. If thoughts of limitation appear in mind, you know clearly they are not you. They appear to disappear. And what about the corresponding appearances? Well, they appear to be in harmony. They appear to transform. I can in myself do nothing. The Father within doeth the work. This is what I mean by existence is enough. Presence is enough. Being is enough. if I try to figure out how to change this other person's mind or do this or that, that might result in unnecessary interference. I just simply remain as I am, witnessing all these things. Body appears to flow. Do I still think? Yes, I think. I think clearly from the premise of fulfilled desire, from the premise of knowing who I am, from the premise of opportunity, you could say it that way. And by that it is meant, let's say I'm having a conversation with someone. I remain as I am. I witness this world appearing to be in harmony. Thus, all people appear to be in harmony. This individual is appearing to be in harmony. They may say this, they may say that, and the conversation appears to flow, to appear to be in harmony. There's no resistance. Witnessing this world. You are literally beyond this world, witnessing this world. Within the world is the individual experiencing this world. As you know who you are, witnessing this world, existing as that consciousness bliss, consciousness peace, consciousness happiness, consciousness joy, completely fulfilled. Natural fragrance of that in the body is the joy, the happiness, the peace, the bliss, the fulfillment in the conversation with the person. Presence is enough. Being is enough. Existence is enough. So they may have seemed to suggest that they are not who they desire to be. They seem to have challenges. And automatically and naturally, if you do say something, or we could say appear to say something, because I can of myself do nothing, the Father would then do it the work. If you naturally say something, it's from the premise of not trying to convince the other person. There's nothing wrong with them. I am perfect now, you are perfect now, they are perfect now. That is fundamental reality. I am that pure awareness, experiencing my true nature in consciousness as bliss, love, peace, fulfillment. So, the conversation flows. They could say change their mind all of a sudden. They start speaking from the premise of fulfilled desire. Or, you may say something. You may say, oh, well, here's where an opportunity is in that regard. Without conflict, without confrontation. Who is there to conflict with? Who is there to be in confrontation with when ultimately, from the sure foundation, it is known that ultimately only God alone exists, and besides God there is no other. So you abide with God in heaven now by relaxing into the flow. That's how it appears, in flow. Prayer, you desire to see them fulfilled. You desire for them to have what they desire, experience what they desire, although they may seem to suggest that they are not that which they desire to be, or not have what they desire. That's okay. Prayer is surrender. Surrender to God. Let God do all the works. I can of myself do nothing. The Father would then do it the work. So I simply acknowledge I have a desire to see them fulfilled, witness them fulfilled. It is a natural desire. As reality is fulfillment. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Thus they are love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. So the desire emerge to experience them fulfilled, or in love, or in peace, or in bliss, or in happiness, or in joy. So I surrender. Desire is the prayer. The desire arose, thank you. It's done. And you may naturally picture the fulfillment of your desire. You may find that to be the case, or you may not. You may simply abide in that feeling of joy, the feeling of fulfillment, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And it happens. Now, this might be confusing to the person in mind, which is not real. What is called in the Bible the old man, who tries to control things, who tries to figure things out from a limited perspective, from the contents in mind, rather than letting God do everything. Prayer is surrender. I can in myself do nothing. The Father would then do it the work. I and the Father are one, yet the Father is infinitely greater than I. So the Father do it the work. I don't know how. Well, maybe afterwards, after it plays out, we can reverse engineer it and talk about it from a reverse engineered perspective. But I don't form an identity around that and say, okay, that's the way, always. That may be the way again. That may not. There are known ways, there are unknown ways. I don't concern myself as to what's better, the known ways, unknown ways. Always, eternally, God plays all roles. I simply witness from that still I am presence. All these things happen naturally in flow. Body appears to flow, conversations appear to flow, words appear to flow. I may or may not say any words. I trust you've witnessed this as well. Have you witnessed that you said nothing? Literally. You just simply accepted that prayer is surrender. Or as Joseph Murphy said, your desire is your prayer. You could say you simply let it be without trying to let it be. You could say you simply prayed without trying to pray. Simple acknowledgement in the moment. And that conversation appears to transform. Now all of a sudden, they appear to be in harmony. No conflict. No confusion. See, confusion and conflict only appear in mind. And you are that which is prior to what appears in mind. So you are not confused. You do not conform. You are that still I am presence that never conforms. Not because you try not to conform, you literally do not conform. The person in mind appears to be conformed to this or that, but the person in mind does not exist in the silence. In the silence, only God alone exists, or it is known accurately, specifically, experientially, in the silence that only God alone exists. So what is the role of desire then? Well, this is the play of God. Ultimately, only God alone exists, and this world appears to dance with God. You simply witness the dance of God. God does everything. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. If the individual forgot their role, which is the perfect role, the individual desires to play the perfect role. They are perfect now. Every individual desires to play the perfect role, as I mentioned. Every individual desires to know who they are and be as they are. And as they know who they are and abide as they are, they play the perfect role without resistance. Everything appears to flow naturally, without resistance. We can call the manifestations of it personal magnetism, confidence, charisma. Yet, they don't form an identity around those appearances. Now, another person may say that. They may say, okay, well, I'm going to model after this person. I'm going to copy what they do. I'm going to mimic them. And then if they do something that doesn't meet their standard of how it should fit in this model, now they think that that other person is doing something wrong. Meanwhile, that individual is not concerned prior to the personality, which they're judging by. They're looking at the other individual, and they're judging by the personality appearance of that individual and trying to copy and mimic that person, but they don't know the individual that abides with the Father. I and the Father are one. That the Father doeth all the work. The Father doeth all the work. I do nothing. It just appears like I do this, I do that. I have this personality, that personality, yet I don't form an identity around those appearances. Because the appearances transform. They appear to transform. The personality appears to transform. Does the personality remain the same? Does the personal identity remain the same? The personal identity the individual can form based on conclusions of looking around to this world, and from inaccurate conclusions form an identity that generates more and more resistance. What we're talking about here is returning to the source. How do you return to the source? Through desire. You desire to be who you are already. As you accept that you are already that which you desire to be, that you already have what you desire, everything appears to be in perfect harmony, as it was in the beginning, now, and ever shall be. Genesis 1:3, the Peshitta Aramaic Bible translation. And God said, the light shall be, and the light was. The light is pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is bliss, joy, happiness, peace, love. And God is that pure awareness. God's name in the Bible, I am, Exodus 3:14. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. So you abide with God in heaven eternally. The individual that appears here plays the perfect role. They know the perfect role through desire, as stated in Think and Grow Rich. Desire is the definite chief aim. So spot on. Your desire is your prayer. Or as Neville Goddard said, prayer is a surrender. So you're just surrendering to being. Anytime a desire arises, thank you. Surrender to being. You may or may not say thank you. It's a simple acknowledgement. You thank God through desire. We know that desire points to your fulfillment. You are fulfilled. As mentioned, every time that a desire arises and you fulfill it within, by knowing that you are that already which you desire to be, do you not experience the feeling of the wish fulfilled? So you feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled today with this desire, tomorrow with another desire, last week with another desire. What does it ultimately point to? It points to the fact that you are ultimately fulfilled. You only appear fulfilled in the eyes of God. Everything appears to be fulfilled in the presence of God. Mind is purified in the presence of God. Again, do not conform can sound like a thing to do, yet you exist beyond conformity. Know who you are prior to the thoughts of the individual trying to conform, not conform. As mentioned, the individual can think. You have been given the two gifts, as stated in the Hermetica. Two gifts were bestowed upon humanity. They were mind and speech. So you have a mind, and you have the ability to use your mind and to think. Yet the individual might not know how to think for themselves. They might not even know who the self is. So you discover who the self is in the silence, and then you really think for yourself. What naturally arises in mind are thoughts of harmony from the silence. See, the individual, thinking from the premise of limitation, doesn't really think for themselves and then forms another condition or places another condition upon consciousness based on limitation and wonders why they feel that they are disconnected from the source. Why is everything so troubling for them? Why does everything appear to not flow for them? Because this individual is trying to control things by placing this condition, that condition upon consciousness and just cluttering the mind. But that's okay, no shame, no condemnation. The desire emerges to know who you are and be as you are. You desire to know that your true nature is fulfillment. You are that eternal joy, eternal peace, eternal bliss, eternal fulfillment, eternal love. Or we could say God only sees you as love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. As abiding in that still I am presence, witnessing this world, unconditionally is what is referred to as that love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, from which what naturally emanates and appears in mind are thoughts of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. As stated in Philippians 4:8, whatsoever things are true, honest, good rapport, lovely, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think upon these things. You naturally think upon these things from the premise of knowing who you are. As mind is purified from not identifying with thoughts of limitation, as the former conversation is put off, as it is known, in the silence. The former conversations that belong to the old man as well as the old man are not real. So what ends up happening then in the silence is you know who you are. So without trying to imagine, naturally you think thoughts as you've been given the two gifts, as stated in the Hermetica, mind and speech. Naturally you think from the premise of fulfilled desire. Naturally you think from the premise of being already that which you desire to be. You desire to be that love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. What does that look like? You see it in imagination. You know that all things exist in imagination, yet you don't identify with the limitations in imagination. You are that which you desire to be already, true identity. So you play your role, everyone plays their role. It's a perfect play. And prayer is a way to surrender. By knowing that you are that which you desire to be, that's surrender. If the individual knows that they are that which they desire to be, they already have what they desire. All these things that the individual tries to do to surrender, let go, detach, this and that in order to be, happen. God does everything. God does even those things. The individual thinks themselves to be the doer of the works, is not the doer of the works. They may delude themselves to think that they are the doer of the works and try to control things, yet they are not the doer of the works. Everything happens naturally, spontaneously, effortlessly in flow. You abide as you are in flow, and flow is the natural result of being who you are, which is the natural result of knowing who you are. And you know who you are in the silence. You know who you are through desire. You desire to know/be who you are. Who do you desire to be other than who you are? You feel like yourself when you're being as you are. We could say, when you do what you love to do, when you follow your bliss, as Joseph Campbell put it, when you live the way you truly desire to live your dream life, you are being as you are. You are already that. This is your dream life. So the individual might think, because of this or that condition, it needs to be there in order to experience my dream life, or God does not want me to experience my dream life, so I'm going to suppress and repress these desires. Illusory. The desires of the heart emerge from the source. Psalm 37:4, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Or another translation, be happy with the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. How does the individual practically be happy with the Lord? Well, the Lord is that still I am presence. Be happy with the Lord by abiding as that still I am presence. You are that pure awareness, witnessing all these things in perfect harmony. That's happiness. The joy, the happiness, the peace, the bliss, the fulfillment, the love of that still I am presence was what the individual was seeking for their whole life. As I mentioned before, you only desire to know who you are and be as you are. So be happy with the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Everything happens naturally, spontaneously. I speak from personal experience on this as well. I came across Joseph Murphy's information shortly after I read Think and Grow Rich, Power of the Subconscious Mind. It was the first time I heard of this concept called subconscious mind. It was in Think and Grow Rich. He said, in the subconscious mind, there are these beliefs, and these beliefs are beliefs of limitation, which can be released. So you can release these beliefs through autosuggestion. And then I read Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And then I learned about, the infinite intelligence within the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill was referring to as infinite intelligence, is God, the doer of the works. So if I purify the subconscious mind of these beliefs of limitation, God does everything as God was always doing everything. It's just these beliefs were distorting reality, suggesting that reality is not perfect as it is now. Fundamental reality is not perfect as it is now. Prior to the thoughts of limitation, absolutely it is. Reality just is. God just is. Everything just is, perfectly as it is now, prior to the thoughts that suggest otherwise. And as you are that prior to the thoughts that suggest otherwise, then those thoughts that suggest otherwise are illusory and don't make any sense to you. They make absolutely no sense that you do not even entertain them, abiding as that still I am presence. You simply witness all these things happening to be in perfect harmony with increasing frequency on a continuous basis. God does everything. See, I didn't know this back in the days because the way this information was taught, or the way I had interpreted, however way you want to look at it, was not from the premise of the sure foundation that God is the source of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. That I, the individual, was created perfect in the image of the Creator. And God only simply desired for me to live the life that I truly desired to live, as God desired for all to live the way they desire to live, which happens to be in perfect harmony. All I did over the years, and I teach this, and I've shared this all throughout, been making these videos now since 2013, I just committed to the definite chief aim along the way, mind became purified from those beliefs stored in the subconscious mind. And the light of awareness, that pure consciousness, emerged as all these things I once desired, and even things happening spontaneously that I don't remember consciously desiring or consciously praying for them. Yet when they appear, I can honestly say that's love, that's happiness, that's peace, that's bliss, that's fulfillment. And then the next desire emerged for the next definite chief aim, which I committed to. As desire points to fulfillment, I am already that. Why would I not commit to the being I am? Why would I not commit to that which I desire to experience, which represents the being I am? That doesn't make any sense. What am I going to do? Suppress and repress the desire, look to this world for opinions? That's illusory. Only you can imagine what this world seems to suggest. It suggests nothing. Only you suggest what this world seems to suggest. I suggest, no pun intended, that you suggest from the premise of being who you are and being as you are. And the natural fragrance of that is joy, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And that still I am abidance, witnessing all these things appearing to be in harmony, is the natural result. You naturally feel, if you want to describe it from a body perspective, emotions regulate, emotions release, body relaxed, in flow. You may do this, you may not do this. You don't look around as to, should I take this action, should I not take this action? There's no confusion in mind. There is no confusion in mind. Abiding as that still I am presence, witnessing all these things. Witnessing thoughts appearing to disappear if they seem to suggest disharmony. The world just appears to be in harmony more so. Body appears to flow. For many years I would say on this channel, make flow a priority. That could even sound like a thing to do. A person may think, oh, no, I got to make flow a priority. It's like work to do. See, the person still thinks that they are the doer of the works. Make flow a priority is just be as you are. The natural result of being as you are is flow. Everything appears to flow. We can call it flow. It's the way of life. And it does appear as a play of God in flow. While in flow, I trust you witnessed this as well. While the individual's in flow state, the individual in the body experiences bliss. As a matter of fact, while in flow state, there's a neurotransmitter that's released called anandamide. It binds to, I believe, CB1 or CB2 or maybe both, the receptors in the endocannabinoid system. And the experience can be described as bliss. Thus, it is called the bliss molecule, anandamide, named after the Sanskrit word ananda, which means bliss. Literally experience bliss doing the things you love to do. Following your bliss, as Joseph Campbell said, of course, that's a great way of looking at it. I do what I love to do naturally. And as a matter of fact, doing what you love to do can sound like a force-based thing as well. Just like make flow a priority could sound like a force-based thing to do, but it's not. The natural result of being as you are is following your bliss. The natural result is you appearing to do what you love to do. You'll just naturally do what you love to do without resistance. You'll just naturally follow your bliss without resistance. You'll just naturally remain in flow without resistance. Desire calls you back to the source of fulfillment. It's prayer. As Joseph Murphy had said, your desire is prayer. Picture the fulfillment of your desire now and feel its reality. And that can even sound like a thing to do. Here's the thing. I found that this picturing the fulfillment of your desire also happens naturally. Although an individual might find it helpful to consciously imagine what that desire looks like, as it did for me in the earlier stages with the definite chief aim. And then I would read my definite chief aim card anytime I forgot, because only I can forget. Only I, the individual, can forget these things. But that's okay. No shame, no condemnation. Return to the source. Do not conform to the pattern of this world. I may forget, no shame, no condemnation. I'd pick up the Definite Chief Aim card, I'd read it, and I knew exactly what I committed to, which is just being as I am, being the way that I was created, to be as I am. I came here to experience the fruits of God, the fruits of creation. All these things you desire to experience, you receive via desire, and you naturally go on to experience these things in flow. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's conclude this with an auto suggestion to further encourage. You could say, I know that desire is prayer to elevate my mind to that which I seek. Thus I am already that which I seek for. The natural result is the feeling of joy, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, including body in flow, emotions flowing, thoughts flowing, the world flowing to be in harmony with me as I am in harmony with all. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.